Okay, welcome to this episode of DIY3DTech.com. We're back here with the JGAURORA A5. In this episode today, I'm going to show you guys, number one, how to use the intelligent bed leveling to level your bed, and then number two, how to load the filament. So, starting with the intelligent bed leveling, I can't say there's really too much intelligence to it. The way that intelligent bed leveling works is you simply select it and it moves to certain points on the bed, and you do a paper level. So what I want to do is back up a little bit and reshare how I do my paper level. So I typically start with a piece of about 70-pound cardstock that I have here, and I've got the micrometer zeroed out. And one of the things, if we take a look at what the thickness is, it's around 0.22 to 0.24 millimeters, depending on where we measure it along this piece of paper. So one of the reasons I use the heavier cardstock, now this is not an 80-pound cardstock you might find in an index card. So this is about a 60 to 70-pound cardstock. Now I use this because instead of regular paper, I don't get the tearing, but I do go for a tighter fit under the nozzle. So now that I've explained that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here. I'm going to select Intelligent Bed Leveling, and as you see on the overlay, I basically get 5 points. It's going to pick 5 points on the bed. And really, for me, the first 4 points are the most important. So now, one of the other things I want to mention before starting this, make sure that your head is not going to impact your bed. There should be some space underneath it, so you do a homing and everything should be clear. If not, use these screws to pull the bed down. So I'm going to go to the first point, which is going to take me to it's going to do a home, and then it's going to lift up to safe Z height, and then it's going to go back to this back corner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get the paper. You see, I can't get the paper underneath. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try tightening this up, and this is actually a little bit tough because my fingers are having a hard time fitting in here, but I'm getting it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen this up until it just fits. Now see how I'm pushing it through here. Now I'm going to tighten it up until I get a fair amount of drag. Now I don't want it to be pinched in here. I just simply want it to get a substantial amount of drag. And you want to kind of get a feel for that drag. So okay, I'm happy with that drag. So now I'm going to come back around and I am going to press the second point, which again is going to raise it to a safe Z height, and is going to take it back to this other corner. And I'm going to wait for it to finish its touch off. Now you notice on this side I've got tons of room, and so I'm going to tighten it up. And again, it's kind of tight to get your fingers in here, but you can do that. Alright, so again, I want roughly the same tension that I have with the other one. And so you kind of, just kind of pull it back and forth to get that tension. And I'm pretty happy I got the same tension. Now what I'm going to do is come back here, hit the next one, and it's going to come to the front corner. Notice how it starts in the back, and so I'm going to do the same thing here. Again, I've got a lot of room underneath, so I'm going to loosen up the spring so the bed rises, and again I'm just going to kind of keep moving it back and forth until it starts to pinch. Here it's starting to pinch. And again, I want to get it roughly the same as I have, and I do. Now I'm going to go to the fourth position, which is obviously going to be that corner. I think you guys can figure that much out. And wait for it to do its, again, lots of room. And so I'm going to loosen up the bed. I'm having a little hard time reaching over this one. And again, we want to get to about the same tension. You can almost hear the sound is about the same. And we're going to do the final, which is going to take it to the center of the bed. And you'll notice that getting it to the center of the bed, I can't even get the paper underneath it. So what I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to tighten up each one of these by about a quarter turn until I can get there. Okay, so now you see I've got roughly the same tension. So this should actually be good to go. But what I'm going to do is I want to go back now basically for the way the machine's set. This is what you're supposed to do now. Especially since this is my first level, I would highly suggest going back through and doing this once again, because as I've covered out in my other bed leveling tramming videos, one of the pieces that you will experience is that when you do this, each movement will, so if you move this corner, it's going to affect this corner, vice versa. So you're going to want to kind of go through and do it twice just to really get a fine tuning, especially because you notice I've got, a bit more room, so I'm going to fine tune this a little bit more, kind of snug that up, and then I'm just going to go through and repeat this for all the points. So I'm just going to fast forward past this point. Okay, so I've gone back and I've done that a second time. Now you may even want to do it a third and a fourth time. Now one of the tips I'm going to share with you guys, so in the first time that I did it and I went to the center point, which is here, I backed off a quarter turn all the way around to keep it uniform. Now when I did it the second time and I came to the center, it was still pretty tight, and I backed it off about 1/8 of a turn. Depending upon how anal you want to get with this, you could kind of keep taking it down and down. I think where I've got it now with the 2, I think is going to be pretty good for this. One of the things you'll see in the future video, I am going to build a tramming gauge to go on the back here to put a dial indicator, then we'll really get it tuned in. But until that time, I think this is really good the way it sets. So, tell you what, let's cut over to install the filament on this. Okay, so now that we've got the bed leveled, what we're going to do is now load the filament. So to load the filament, what you have to do is go to heat, warm up the extruder by hitting the plus sign. So now I've already got this heated to 200 degrees C. So I'm going to exit out of this and I'm going to go back, and then I'm going to go to extrude. And then now I'm at my extrude menu, so there's 2 buttons in and out to load it. Now also one of the things, and I'll cut over here, is I'll do a bit of an overlay. There's actually a press button on the back side of this extruder that you have to press to load the filament. Now the filament needs to go as you sort of see here, so I'm going to set the filament in here, push it up into the tube, and then I'm going to press this button. It's kind of difficult to press, and then what I'm going to do is, it works just like the lever, and I'm going to feed this up through the tube, and it pretty much loads like most other 3D printers do. So I'm just going to fill the Bowden tube and keep pushing until I get some extrusion. Now you see some of the extrusion coming out the end. Now pretty much that's loaded, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back around here, and I've got this set to extrude 5 millimeters of filament. So I'm just going to test it, and so you see it comes out. I can also increase this from 1 to 10. So I'm going to push 10 millimeters of filament out and just make sure everything is working. I'm going to do that again. And so now I've got 10 millimeters of filament pushed out. So as you can see here, everything works pretty good. not too hard to set up and do, so hopefully you found this interesting and helpful. I'll have indexes below if you need to go back and watch any of these, so you can just kind of click to them. But now the printer is set up and we're ready to do our first print. So I tell you what, in the next video we're going to start working with some prints on this guy, and I'll show you a little bit more, but I just kind of wanted to get you guys set up on how you do the bed leveling and get the filament loaded on this guy if you picked one up and you're having questions about it. So hopefully you found this interesting. Don't forget, Swag Shop will be up there. Don't comment below if you got any questions about this, or again, if you want me to see me do anything specific about this. You know, maybe again you've got a home-based business, or you're thinking about one with a 3D printer. I'm highly recommending this one, and if you got questions, hit me up below, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.
Please click like below and subscribe to the channel to keep up to date on all of our projects.